You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heist Click and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. In the darkest of nights, gonna let my light shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die. Oh yeah. What is up, everyone? My name is Frank Castle, and I'm your Sorcerer Supreme right here every Saturday night on Truth Frequency Radio. Shout outs to the guys running the shows tonight. Best night in radio. Shout outs to Ra. Stick around. Up next, we have Paranormal Portal. And Brent will be having psychic readings tonight, live psychic readings. So make sure you tune in right after me and be awesome. And then after that, stick around, Beyond the Veil with Chris and Cherie Gio. Shout outs to everybody in the chat room, and shout outs to my brother and sister, Chris and Cherie Gio. Without you, we would not be here doing anything like this. This is amazing. It has allowed me an opportunity to step out from the darkness and let my light shine. Happy birthday to my my brother Sergio, who does IamWeAreFearless.com with me. If you guys run over to the site, IamWeAreFearless.com, check out all the great artists, all the different designs that we have. We just brought on another artist as well. Her name's Holly, musician, artist, voiceover work. If you guys are interested, hit me up. If you got some talent, let's see it. We have a giant team. And it's beautiful. I love the tribe. The tribe is awesome. There's nothing like going to a meeting for work and actually loving your meeting and saying, I can't even believe a meeting could be this good. Shout outs to Nicholas Zervos just because he needs shout outs. I love you, buddy. My brother. Get a subscription if you like anyone you hear tonight. Get a subscription. You can listen to all the past episodes of every single show. I know tonight's I'm a little ranting on and on. I'm riding solo. Paula's in Boston. If you find her, get a picture with her, show it to me. I'll get you a sticker and some other cool stuff too from Fearless if you're out in Boston somewhere. And I was debating whether or not to even do the show tonight. And I'm being honest with you guys. I've gotten to a point, and I think Chris has hit this wall a few times, where you're kind of like, what more can I say? I could tell you my story. And like I say all the time, the story's great. The story's awesome. And I have to keep the story going. It's Fearless. I promised that I would. But it's really just going to be a story if you're not becoming part of it. Now, you don't have to become part of my story, but you can be part of yours. And a lot of people don't do that. They don't have time. They don't put the effort in. They don't have energy. Who the hell has energy after a long day at work? And possibly kids and whatever else you have. Right before the show started, we have a cat. We keep changing her name because she's not responding to anything. She's scared all the time. And I went into the bathroom before the show, drank a little too much coffee, and she had to use the bathroom, but she only comes out like once or twice a day. So I went into the kitchen and slid across the floor, as you can imagine. All the other cats wanted out of the house, and then I saw why. I was like, oh my. Now, we have choices to make. I could scream,
there's 10 minutes before the show. What the heck? I could, wait till later to clean it up, just let it kind of sit there and waft in the house. I could be that kind of person, right? Or I could just clean it up and say, it's okay. No harm, no foul. You're a little baby. I don't believe you asked to be in the house with me. Although you came running in, you're still a baby and don't understand anything yet. So will I get upset or will it be okay? Well, guess what? I just kind of lunk down, clean it up. Now, past me would be like, what the hell? Blah, 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 blah. Now, I wouldn't hate on her, but I also would be very upset. I'd be like, come on, the show, every time the show. But you don't realize prior to the show, there's a buildup of energy. So if anyone's going to have to go to the bathroom, it's going to be prior to the show. It's going to be right before the show starts because there's that giant buildup. Oh, not to mention that I'm standing outside doing affirmations to the universe going, come on, guys, time for the show. I didn't think I was going to do the show tonight. I don't really have much to say. Maybe one of you Ascended Masters can come and sit with me, or all of you come in, friends and family and loved ones, come on in, join me for the show. Okay, so if the cats are traveling in and out of both worlds, wouldn't that mean it would drive the cat a little kooky if they are seeing all these beings just piling in the room? We have to start coming from a better place of common sense is what I'm getting at. Like, because I've seen the reactions that come out of people. And it's a lot of times even those that are enlightened, right? Now, there was some stuff I saw North Carolina, flooding, terrible, sending love to them. But something I saw that really bothers me, people leaving their dogs and cats and making a break for it. I don't know how to talk about this except getting like weird about it, right? I saw just lonely dogs sitting on car rooftops, and I'm like, well, what is this? Why would you leave your dog there? All right, granted, it could have been someone old. They couldn't have done something, but there were so many. And I'm beginning not to understand. Or maybe I'm beginning to understand that there's a lot of, just like there are a lot of parents that aren't good parents. They should not be parents. Well, there's a lot of owners that shouldn't be pet owners as well. These beings need love and help. They're like little babies. Even the big old ones, they're like big old babies. They're not 3D consciousness. They're 2D consciousness. Okay? You can't be unhappy with the cat because it doesn't respond to you. Outside, this cat, I sung to the cat. I talked about it on the show. I call her Crybaby. I was singing to her. She came in the house, won't come near me. All right. Well, she's in the house, though. She's safe. Can I be one of those cat owners who just takes the cat and goes, well, you know what? I don't like your interpretation of being a cat, so get out of my house. Now the cat has been under the couch, had a place to sleep that's nice and warm. Under the bed, we stack up blankets and stuff. My point is this. You're going to throw that cat out into the woods because it's not acting cat enough for you from what it is in your mind? Maybe what you have in your mind is wrong. None of them asked to be here with us. I mean, on some level they did. We were contracted, but you see how people act. And it drives me absolutely up a wall. Now, how do we look our space brothers and sisters in the face that are these beings? I'll give you some examples that really drove me up a wall because you'll laugh. You'll go, oh, look what he did. So the first time I met Toth, right? And anyone could say anything they want about the beings. It's all good. I was standing right with him, poked him, rubbed his arm. I said, let me feel that arm. Oh, look at that. You're giant like the Hulk. It's awesome. Big, perfect man. I had just eaten chicken. I'm standing with a bird-headed god man, lowercase g. I just ate chicken. I'm looking right at him. I'm like, damn it. He's like, what is it? I go, I just ate chicken. And he's like, how would you like it if I just ate human? I was like, well, I get it. I go, but you're a bird-headed being, and birds eat birds as well. So don't let it really break you down that far. Try to walk away from it, though. Like, even we don't do that any longer. The reptilians that came right through the window, I talk about them all the time. A whole group of them came in and said, if you touch me again or talk to me without being spoken to first, you're meat. We'll eat you. We don't even talk to you. We're just here to watch. And I'm like, oh, so you're going to eat me? And they were like, no, we don't do that anymore. We're above that. But just know that you're meat. Oh, so I'm regarded as that. Okay, no problem. Then what are you here watching if I'm just meat? You guys going to take a bite out? Nope. We've gone beyond that. Okay, then. I don't know if I believe that from them as much because I see them doing some crazy, crazy stuff. But there becomes a point where we have to let that go. I talked about not having eaten wings anymore because my cat Squeak, my first cat, when he was a baby, never had a kitten. I'm playing with it. I just had wings the night before. And now I'm squeezing his back legs. He liked to be rubbed on the belly, and I was grabbing his legs, and I couldn't do it no more. I said, I'll just rip his leg off and eat it. It's the same exact thing. That's terrible. For me, from my perspective. And I battle that every day. And we battle that, and we wonder about the manure farms that are going underwater with the drowning pigs and whatever else manure just getting into the everything else. This is going to stop. All of it is going to stop. It will take time. It will take time. But think about your stance in this. What is it that you're here for? Are you here just to work, pump out some kids? You know, I spoke to a kid that I see every once in a while. A young guy, he's a nursing student. He's about to become a full-time nurse. He says to me, yeah, I'm feeling a little under the weather. I got he got all these shots the other day. The amount of shots he got in one day was more than I had my entire life in terms of those kind of shots. Right? I'm like, why'd you do that? He's like, well, you got to get a booster. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I haven't got it in a few years. And I'm like, dude, that's terrible. He goes, well, that's just hearsay. And I said, well, where you been? Just kind of curious. I haven't seen you in a while. Nurse that's taking flu shots, thinking that just going headstrong into it. And I'm like, you could see the light kind of in his eyes, but he kind of looks like I'm sorry to say this, but the NPC, he has the look, but he looks alive. Like he's a beautiful looking guy, right? His girlfriend is beautiful. You're just like, whoa, perfect people, right? So they go to Aruba or something. I don't know. And the way he explained it, I was like, oh, your tan is kind of, it's not really there that much. I would have thought you'd have been laying out, getting a tan. We were just breaking each other's chops and talking. And then he goes, no, I was so busy doing things that I never had a time to relax. And it's kind of like beat that way. So I go, well, what did you do? And he told me. So I go, you went on vacation and you did more stuff than you can handle. And then you're right back home. He goes, yeah, it was like a blink of an eye. It was all gone. I go, are you all right with that, though? He's like, yeah, it was good, but we never really rested. We didn't really take a vacation. It kind of sucks. What are you doing stuff like that for? Why? It's a metaphor for the whole thing. We're all doing stuff we don't want to do. We're just packing shit in and going, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, whatever. And there's no emotion attached to it because I was like, well, what did you do? Well, we rode some horses, rode some buggies, rode some this, rode some that, went some swimming. I'm like, but what did you like? Like, did you love the horses? Did you hug one? Did you jump on its back and go, yee-haw? There was none of that. He's like, no, just got on the horse and just rode the horse. It's just very linear, very linear. Drives a nice car than me. He's better looking than me. He's bigger than me. And I'm looking and I'm like, is that really what you want? Now's the time for the big choices to be made. What do you want? You can have all this, but then you're going to answer questions like that. Well, yeah, it was all right. You know, peanut butter cat. Yeah, it was all right. Do you want all right? Why are you forcing it? Square peg in the round hole. A lot of us seem to do that. Well, we don't have enough time. Enough time in the year. Enough time in the week. Enough time in the month. Enough time in the day. So we're just shoving shit in our faces. No, I'm not talking about him any longer. But when you just shovel shit in your face, and I've been flinging that word around tonight already, and it's kind of bothered me. But you become a poop container, right? So when you break off and decide to just shovel it in, during these times, when I talk about riding the fence and everything, when you take it down the weirdo path, down the darker path, where it could lead to addictions and qualities that are unhealthy or things you don't like. It really plays itself out. Whereas if you make the turn the other way and you're like, nah, man, I'm ready to see the magic, it turns the other way. Like, I refuse to go do things I don't want to do. You don't want me there. Go do it yourself. You don't need, why would you take the one guy that doesn't want, you want to go play, let's go watch soccer. I'm like, I don't want soccer. I could I could care less. No, we got to go to the soccer game. Go have fun. Dude, you're a Jet fan. Let's go to the Jet game. No, I'm a casual fan. I did 38 years of Jet fanning. I'm done. I'm not a fan anymore. Right? It doesn't work for me. I'm out of it. My cat's getting all worked up. She's scratching everything. Black lightning. Yeah, so I refuse to do stuff. You know why I refuse to do it? Because if it makes me unhappy truly, and I've done it before, and I've done it 100 times, I don't want to do it no more. I don't want to do it because it's on your list. I don't really care. It's got to be enjoyed. I want to take my time finally. I want to understand something. I want to feel the warm embrace of what it has to show me. I'm not ready to drive my car 99 miles an hour and hit a brick wall. I'm done. With the energies the way they're going today, we can't even make it through a day without wanting to collapse or wanting to break someone's head open. I wake up in the morning, if I don't have coffee, I start like hallucinating and become this other kind of weirdo character. And Paul will just say, hey, shut up. Or she'll look at me and I'll go, don't look at me. Don't look at me. And then I feel like a dummy. And I'm like, what is that? Let's fix that. Yes. And we'll go back to levels of commitment with that. All right. Now I'm done barking up that tree because I know nobody wants to hear me doing that. But last week we were discussing some interesting stuff. I think I talked directly into the commercial. All right. I had an interesting time under a 5-gram experience that I shared with my etherical translator, Paula Milo. It was a wonderful experience. At one point, I lost my mind. Another point, I was connected to Paula, so connected to Paula that we were shown how many lifetimes or a variety of different, not how many, because then I'm not counting. This is kind of an infinite thing. Like Chris says, infinite from the point of creation. And then you're stuck in the figure 8 loop. So as the more things change, the more they stay the same. The torus keeps spinning and collapsing in on itself. The only thing that changes is the image. Right? So we're being shown all these excellent things, and we get to pick our bodies. I get to tell reptilians and snake men to leave, no matter how fantastical some of these creatures might be. You definitely don't want to have them over for dessert of any kind. Once that door is open, it's open. To be able to hold your ground and stand your ground just within your own mind, within yourself. When you say no, you mean no. When you say yes, you mean yes. And when you mean yes, we're going to do this, that means you're going to do it all the way. You're not going to halfway do it. You're not going to kind of do it. You're just going to go with the flow, and you're going to do it the best you can, and you're going to rock and roll. That's how you got to roll with this stuff. But when it's no, the answer is no. I was asked a question. Why? Do you want power? Why is it have you come here? What drives you to be what you want and you desire in life? I'm like, desire in life. I'm here because I love beauty. Do you see the woman next to me? The woman next to me is beautiful. Everything she touches it lives. It lives wonderfully. And she goes into episodic trances to make sure you're okay, and you're okay, and you're okay, and you're okay, and you're okay. The coffee is always on. The food is always cooking. The plants are always luscious. The cats are always frisky and finicky. Yeah, what's up, guys? The dogs are always rough, and not rah, right? Like there's a different thing going on here. And it's beautiful. And she shouldn't have a yard she can't pot in, like, and put plants in. We live in this little 1-bedroom place. All I do is scream about Paula having more room. Because for me, I get the corner at the front of in the living room. Those have been in my house. No, it's like a matrix spot right in the house for the work spot, and everything else is hers. And I'm good with that, but she needs more. It's a 1-bedroom. Those of you that are beautiful, the internal, the rising of the sacred feminine, you deserve it as well, but we're worthy. She's worthy, and I'm here to make sure that that's okay, because those things and things of their ilk and kind of things like them and people like me that were prior to me, but post ayahuasca Frank was quite a jerk sometimes. I could imagine what everyone else or the different combinations could be. I hear the stories all the time. I lived the rock star life for 20 years. I get it. And she's beautiful, and she shouldn't be harmed, and she shouldn't be taken advantage of. And I mean, come on. Right? And they were like, all right, hold up. And I'm like, what is it? And they were like, come here, bring it in. Give me a hug. You did it. I'm like, what did I do? And they're like, all the right reasons, man. Great power comes great responsibility. Everyone is putting everyone else first, but you guys are like the twins. So you're working on self. But then when you're asked, hey, you want power? You're like, dude, I'm not here for power. I'm not here for wonderment. You know what? I honestly don't care if I see another being again. I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. But honestly, I got to worry about my woman, my family, and I don't want to worry. What is this worrying? We didn't come here to worry. What kind of word is that? That word sucks. All right? So I'm here for that. And they're like, right. The protector, the warrior, the sacred feminine are combining, and all the right parts are coming out. You're in. I'm like, I don't know what I'm in, but this is pretty awesome. So I look into my living room, and I see a 4-foot ET standing there, human eyes wrapped around the side of its head. I talked about this last week, but I'm not sure what I got out, so I'm just recovering some of this stuff. Okay, I hope you don't mind that I'm repeating some of the stuff. So I tell Paula really loud. I start screaming. I go, we were laughing really hard. But she kept moaning, oh, like really loud. It was weird. And I'm like, and there's this ET standing there, and he just wants me to acknowledge him. He's just going to peacefully stand there. And she's like, bring him in. I need help. So I'm like, oh, hey, buddy, what's up? And he's like, come on out. And he's just looking at me, his arms across. He's smiling, just waiting for me. I come in, and it's like he disappears, but I could see him standing there. I could see his outline. And I'm like, oh, that was weird. It was like I was picking up on him with every single sense. It was weird. Then I could hear him talk. He's like, you ready? He starts explaining to me, guys, take this with what you want. Don't judge me. This is what's going on. Is it a psychedelic experience? A hardcore one? Yes. Am I up and walking around after the first 2 hours? Yes. This is what happened. Take it or leave it. I thought the room filled with water on one side of the room facing the kitchen. The other side of the room did not fill with anything. It was just there. Aquatic being swam up to me, and I was under the water. And I said, oh, I could breathe. This is great. I'm the creator. This is awesome. You guys are not shaking me. So when I saw the being, I called for my sharks because I'm afraid of sharks, right? Not anymore. I have a whole family of sharks. Big, giant ones, too. Giant Meg-like ones where you're just like, dude, that's frightening. And I'm like, nope, they're my family. You know why they're my family? Because I had to live through it. I faced my fear. I went nose to nose with these things, and they ate me. And then they were like, the energy from not just being like, let me release and let go. I find out that they're in my DNA, and we're family. And guess what? Nobody's touching me. So I call them, and they're like, no, man, it's time for you to learn. I'm like, learn what? And they're like, you got to speak to him. So I'm like, oh, all right. So I start talking to him, and they're like, no, not in English. Stop talking out loud. Shut your mouth. I'm like, all right, what's up? So they go, okay, here it goes. He's going to speak to you, and then you're going to talk back to him. And he starts popping and clicking inside his chest and in his lower throat, and almost like pushing it out at me through the water. It's really weird. It sounds like a submarine almost. Not quite, but kind of. That's the best thing I got. So I'm listening to it, and I'm like, I can't make that noise. And then boop, it just comes out. And I go, oh, they're like no longer talking unless you talk in the language. So I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know what to say. And boop, 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 it just starts coming out. So I turn to the side of the room where there was air, like it was just empty. And I go, oh, there's a whole empty room over here. It's open. And then I go, I was thinking to myself, this sounds like bird tweets being held in, like a reverse bird tweet or something, because you can't push it out. So you're almost like generating it on the inside and then pushing it. And Toth has these little Toths. I can't explain. They're like 4 feet tall, bird-headed man beings, right? They look just like him. They come out and they go like a bird tweet, right? And they start tweeting, but talking to me, not tweeting like the birds in the trees. They were more pronounced. Like it wasn't just randomness. I was like, whoa, I could understand everything you're saying. Full conversations and thoughts were being passed with just the first part of the frequency hitting you. You're already, 10 minutes into the conversation. I'm like, wow, this is a lot of information. This is kind of cool though. I can't make those high notes and then bloop, it came out the other way. So I'm like, wait, what? They're like, okay, do it in reverse. And I'm like, I've never done anything like that. Back in reverse. So I'm like, well, this is amazing. I spent a few minutes going back and forth with them, having conversations back, forth, with all the different beings. Then I'm like, whoa, glad that's over. Sit down. I'm like, man, I'm getting Jimmy on the line. I need to talk to somebody up in here, right? Paul is still in the other room, bugging out, having a good old time, because we're way past the part where we lost our minds. Okay. So I'm sitting there. All right, when we get back from the break, I'll take some time and speak about the next group that rolled up on me. It's most intense. I feel naked and weird talking about this, but I did it last week. There's just no one here with me, and I feel like the awkwardness. You know what? We're going to break that. The true frequency is going to rise because we are your protection from deception.
You're listening to the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
Am I awake or is this a dream? It's a dream. A fantasy of where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me. Come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have you seen my friends? Have you seen my girl? Wake me up from this. I'm trapped in this world.
We are no longer trapped in this world. Anything in here with us is now trapped in here with us. And that's a beautiful thought. Because for so long we have been on our knees, and humankind and creators will stand and rise and become that of which legends are made of. If you like the song, it's called Come Alive. You can find it everywhere. Just type in Frank Castle, Come Alive. Give me a listen, give me a download. I love you guys. I did that one right before my great wake-up call, where I felt the trap. I knew something was wrong. The next thing I knew, I was in Chris's house. All right, so I'm sitting at my computer. The beings left. I'm thinking I'm going to hit my shaman buddy up, tell him what happened. And as I'm thinking out loud, like I'm talking out loud to one degree or another, because Paul is in the other room. She's not far from me. She could hear me talk, and we're laughing. And she's like, oh, your friend's still there or whatever. And I look over, and on my left is where the door is. And I'm facing the computer. And when I turned, there's a gorilla standing with me. He was standing. I was sitting. All right. So he just immediately acknowledges me, starts talking to me. And I say to him, you have a helmet on your head. And it was like an awesome looking space helmet, not like a motorcycle helmet, not like a dick cap. It was an awesome helmet. And he had like guards on his arms, his forearms, and on his shins. They were barefoot, which was weird. There was like this little clothing thing they had on, but they had devices with them. There was a couple of them, but the main one was standing right in front of him, like right there. Like, oh, I'm here. Right? So I'm like, this is terrible. Terrible. So the smaller aliens, what's wrong? I said, Paul is never going to stop making fun of me because she calls me gorilla arms because I have really long arms. They're just long. They're extra long. I could touch. Yeah. I'm because of my injury slightly less than 5'8". I used to be able to dunk a basketball. It was just really weird, and I'd look like all arms. So it was quite funny to watch. So I'm like, well, now I see the resemblance, and it got very angry with me and said, listen, do not speak to me you have to speak gorilla to me. Right? And I'm like, all right, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, you kidding me? You're joking, right? Hand movements start. It grabs my arm, turns the hand, shows me the hand signals, how to move it, how to turn my head. Like, if you don't turn your head one way or the other, it means one thing. If you turn to the right, it means one thing. If you turn to the left and lift it, it's just a complex, but yet so simple designs of vocal. It's all in your chest. It's all in your chest. And it's not just hitting your chest and making gorilla noises. It's so much more than that. The intent is pushed through, just like you're speaking English. You're like, listen, I got to tell them right now about all this stuff, right? And you speak it out loud. It came right out of me. It came out, and we had a 1 hour long full discussion. I was introduced to different gorilla types, different apes. Very, very weird. Planet of the Apes style, but I was not expecting that at all. And they said, look, all races, all creeds, all colors, all shapes, all sizes, all. And I'm like, oh man, what's happening? And they're like, you guys are going to be ambassadors to us. And I'm like, to who? Which ones? And they were like, all of us. And I'm like, well, that's interesting, but I can't speak Spanish. And they're like, you don't have to speak Spanish. I'm like, well, apparently I have to speak Space Gorilla, and I have to speak Aquaman, and I have to speak Bird. That's awkward. And then Paula, as I'm having this conversation, starts talking to me from the other room and starts doing the and they start acknowledging her. And she thought she was almost doing it jokingly. And it came through perfect. And they were like, that's why she's been chosen. That's why. I met Goddess Bast was there as well. She came in and told me, Paula can't see me right now. She's busy doing something, right? She keeps asking for more things to love, and I keep sending the cats. They're like, you okay with that? And I'm like, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love you too. And she said to me a few times, we know, that's what's up. And I'm like, the veil's breaking, isn't it? They're like, when that thing drops, we're right here. So I'm like, yeah, the gorillas were just explaining to me that there's spaceships everywhere. She says to me, how is that any different than what you said on your own show a few months back? You guys could go back. I don't know what episode. I talk about the beings coming through the sun before weeks and months before the observatory closed and all that, coming out of what I said was a portal, but it was a giant sunspot. And I greeted the beings. I was going to fight them. I didn't know why I was there. I was like, I'm going to fight you off. Now, here's where it gets crazier. That day, if you remember the story, 3 beings flew up to me, started talking to me. They were purplish, bluish. They had like these flowing robes on. They were long. They were like long and flowing, and they had bulbousy heads. They were pretty, gave off a lot of light, and they had 3 fingers. What have I said on this show for a long time? I got 3 fingers. When I do my meditations, I cross my fingers, do some weird stuff. So they were like, we're your contacts. So they were explaining that everyone coming out of the portal was Ra. I saw Pleiadian light ships. I saw Arcturian starships. I saw everything you could imagine was coming out. I saw beings just flying out, and you can see through the portal into wherever they were coming from. And my contact said to me, we'll just say her name is Ra, right? Said, that's the Sirius star system. The star by Sirius, you make the jump from there to here, and you come right out. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes total sense. Of course, that's totally what I thought. Right. So they were laughing at me. And I'm like, so you don't want to – I'm here to protect the universe, I guess, because we can't have stuff like this happening on my watch. Apparently, I'm the only one here from Earth. And they were like, why do you think that is? Why do you think that it is? I said, to protect the place. And they were like, oh, we love you so much. They were like, we're your contact. It's us. It's when the ones you've been waiting for, the ones that I wish everybody would just show up. We're here. This was months ago. Like, it's got to be 2 months. And then I go, okay, so now what? They're like, well, because of what you guys have been doing on the planet, you shifted the consciousness into the higher timeline so far that you allowed this to occur this much earlier. And I said, when were you supposed to arrive? And they said around Christmas time, like in December. And I said, well, December's kind of way off from here. And they were like, yep, you could thank yourself and a whole group of other beings on your planet that have put the work in to shift those timelines, to ground that energy in, to 5D Earth, you clean and clear yourself, connect yourself to the planet, and rise. Right? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's what we do. They're like, well, we're here. Then I told you that they came and they filled my house. All these beings just came packed in shoulder to shoulder. Everything that was here was transmuted. I was like, whoa. All right, so now we flip. The observatories are closed. People are they're getting shots of the sun. There's that lady online where you can see the giant disc thing coming out. That stuff's there. You guys can make jokes all day long and say, that stuff has been going on. We've been talking about it on the show for a long time now. Right? But now it's time. They're here. And they're like, make it known. I'm like, well, what's next? They're like, what's next is you're going to have the handshake with us. You understand? I'm like, oh, I get it. It's time. They're like, the other shaman are meeting the beings as well. They're meeting their family, their contacts. We've never not been here. Time, space, distance, that's all baloney. And once you master that, you just jump over. Just open the portal. Hey, what's up? It's me. I'm like, wow. And, a lot of the stuff I was seeing was without time. Time was like not there. And I knew that it was where we were headed, or time was different. It was weird. It was like floatier and lightier. So light that you didn't notice it. Like now, like, oh, hurry up. Got to get in the car. Got to go. Like you wouldn't feel that there. There is none of that. Then I argue points about what free will actually is. What is free will? The ability to just move around and do stuff, right? And we're crying over here. There was a takeover, and there's nano this and techno that and virus this and death that. It's not supposed to be like this. Are we resetting this thing, or are we changing this thing within this thing? What are we doing? Oh, well, you're definitely changing. Oh, with me? I'm definitely changing. Okay, well, who else? Those who put in the work, but everyone goes. Those who do not go. Say there's a line, right? Those that are dark, or dark's not the right word. Those that are morally bent towards evil and of all shades and sizes, right? If you stay bent in that direction, no matter where you are on that scale, you get offered the opportunity to stay and join and continue the path. You just got to lighten up, literally. They choose not to and keep pushing the issue, which is the enemy we face every day, the media and all the other distractions that are being poured out, just pouring onto your face. Distractions. So what do we do in all that? Well, you lock down, you ignore it, and you do what you came to do, and you transform inside this place. And you show them that they can do it. There's ascended masters here. We're everywhere. All right. So a few weeks ago, I talked about meeting Jesus, Space Jesus, for like the third or fourth time. That week, I said, Chris met Jesus. Nick met Jesus. Jimmy met Jesus. Other people around met Space Jesus, met him. Literally, hey, what's up? In their experience. Some of the experiences were just meditation. Why? Because we're the Aya, the DMT, the way we're using it and we're putting in the work with the meditation and the mantras and living our life a certain way has sped up the process quite a bit. Some have said, well, you're cheating. And I'm like, how's it cheating if it's been put there to get you out of desperation? Instead of it taking lifetimes, I'll be up this one. Oh, and by the way, it's not a race. It doesn't matter who gets there first. Everyone's going to one degree or another. Those who morally choose the compass the other direction start to rise. Now, here's your free will choice, right? I want to do some evil. And they're like, you won't be inclined to. 5D doesn't really incline you to want to do that. I go, yeah, and if you try, they're like, if you push and persist the issue, you drop back down. It's almost like you go back because it can't be pushed here. I said, so free will's out the door. It's not free will then. They're like, well, you're free to do all the things you want to do. I go, and if you want to kick someone right in the nuts, you can't do it, can you? They're like, no, you can. It's just going to have heavier consequences. I'm like, what? Like thought police? Because that's not freedom. Right? Now that debate rises and they're like, oh, down to the very bitter core, this kid's a rebellious, soul. And I'm like, listen, I'm not saying I want to do that. I'm just saying, are we being pushed into that? And they're like, well, what do you think you would like? And I'm like, no, I like the idea. But also I feel like there's a herding going on of some kind. Or they're like, oh, a harvest. There is. And you are us in there as representatives of the great all, the ascended masters, the ones that have done this on planets, universes, dimensions, infinite amount of times. Some here have done it no times and are brand new to the process. Like Chris was talking about, you're infinite, but your process might have just started. You might have just been brought in. Your first time's Earthman, and you're in the middle of this, and you're here for the event and all that other good stuff. Where do we want to be in all this? I say to myself personally, I want in 100%. More if I could be more than 100% in, because it's not about just helping others and feeding, the hungry and helping the homeless. It's just being a good person across the board and then doing a little more. That doesn't mean breaking your neck. Paula yells at me some nights. She's like, "Wait, man, you didn't move all day." I'm like, you go to sleep and I'm up for 5 more hours. And it's like I'm another person. Songs are done, dishes are done, walls are scrubbed, the kitty litter's changed, everyone's fed, there's meditation music on. It's like a whole nother lifetime, a whole nother world. I do it at my pace. I try to be respectful with everything and but we have to have respect for our boundaries and to where we like to be creatively free, right? Like I never say, well, Paula, I don't want you to see these people, even though I don't like them, and I don't want you to see them. I'll never say that to her. I'm not a controlling person, right? If it gets to a certain point, I'll be like, listen, this isn't healthy, blah, we got to fix this. But I'll never tell you, well, if you talk to him, you can't talk to me. I'd have no friends. You know why? Everyone's full of shit. This is one thing I'm learning. I got to the top of the mountain that night, guys and gals, FearLess family and everyone else. The metaphorical top of the mountain. And I'm not patting myself on the back, but I am a little bit, but I'm not. There's no hubris in this. There was no one there. Jimmy was right, like next to me. I grabbed his hand, I pulled on him, and he was laughing, and I was holding Source with one hand and standing on the top of the mountain with the other, and me and Jimmy started holding hands, Shaman Jimmy. I asked for everyone else. I asked, where are they? Where's everyone? And they're like, look. I look down the spiral. Ugh. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Some people still think Lucifer's Jesus and Jesus is Lucifer. Guys, come on now. We're still going to have arguments over the flat earth and this and that. That's keeping you bound. There's no one there. There were people coming up, but they were pretty far off. But everyone was doing certain things. I saw Chris down there. He wasn't far. He was not far. He was like body length, so that's not far at all. But it takes time to spiral to that point. And he was sitting in a chair. He looked like he was smoking a cigar. I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm relaxing. And I go, yeah, you're right. Throw this guy a party for what he did at the pyramids. And I started cheering him. I was clapping while he was sitting there, and he looked at me, tilted his head back, and I'm like, okay, are you done? Come up here, please. This is important. And Source is like, listen, he's coming. Give him a break. Give him a break. He just jump-started the pyramids. I'm like, no, I know, but he goes, what? It's lonely at the top? It's not a race, Frank. I go, where am I headed now? They're like, you did it. You absolutely did. Your ascension is done. Now it's got to go into play. So I started to come back down the spiral from 12. We talk about 13 being the other. Okay, I went the furthest I could go without walking into the without walking into the white room that Chris talks about, the 13th dimension. I go there all the time. I've reprogrammed things. I talked about it on the show. White room, panels pop up, start channeling things, fixing them, and then jumping back in the machine. Okay, so I started going back down. And I'm like, what? I'm going down? What did I do wrong? I don't want to do wrong. They're like, you didn't do anything wrong. Now it's going to take time for all this to activate. And as I went down, instead of arguing points like, I can't believe flat earth and I can't believe this, instead of complaining like a jerk, right? Because I'm not here to judge any of you. I'm not here to judge any of you. Do what you want to do. I love all of you. I really want you to succeed. I don't care anymore. I care so much that if the ones that just want to go F yourself, fine, whatever, next, I don't. And as I came down, I started saying all nice things to everyone I saw. I saw Jimmy's wife. I grabbed her. I said, what are you doing? Come on up. And oh, well, this, that, the other thing. I said, yeah, you can't take that up there, but you don't really lose that. You still have that when you come back. You just don't have it attached to you. Oh, and she just went up. Paula flew up, bang, touched the top, started coming back down. She didn't even have to say anything to me. I'm like, there she is doing it again. It's the one time I was past her, and then she flew past me and came right back up. And I'm going, what's happening here? And they're like, now superpowers, and like people make fun of me when I say those superpowers. Like I telepathy, guys, we got to activate it. Right? Telekinesis would be dope, right? Well, we're never going to know unless a bunch of us try. Okay? So I'm spiraling back down, and right at the tip of my head is everything activated. And it's inseminating in me, and it's following me down the de-ascension back into 5D. They were like, you're locked into 5D. You're not in 3D. This is why you can't stand talking to people. So cutting the cords, I have 6 minutes. I want to talk about cutting the cords because this is what you need to do. You don't need to listen to me, but some healthy advice about cutting cords. Some people, no matter what you do, no matter what, have this limit that they just break it every time. It's like they're purposely trying to ruin every holiday or every day or every interaction, or they're trying to be scum or underhanded or sly or in the background or rude or disrespectful. Excuse me. A lot of times we go, well, it's Jack, and it's Jack. So Jack's Jack, and Jack's always been Jack. So Jack's just going to be Jack. Well, Jack, you can get up and get out of my house. You can get out of here, Jack, because nobody wants you here anymore. Nobody wants the attitude. Sorry, I don't not love you. I don't hate you. I don't like what you do. I don't hate you, but cut the cord. You're out. But you see Jack every day. I'm like, for what? Well, you work with him. Well, that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to work with him. I know where I stand with him. Jack doesn't know how to not be like that. So you're out. That kid across the street from me, that my neighbor, I'm like, I have to get rid of this kid. I still haven't seen him. I cut him out. He lives 25 feet across the street. I haven't seen him since the last time 2-3 weeks ago. I spoke about him on the show and said, I haven't seen him. I had to get rid of him. He lives right there. Parks the car, goes in his house. Guess what? He drives my old Mustang. Right? So drives my car. It's just weird, man. But you got to do it. So unhealthy relationships, family members, close cousin, brother-like relationships. Hey, if you're just going to massively cause problems with everything that you're going to do, no, I'm not going to hate on you and victimize you anymore by saying, hey, I'm the older guy and this is what it. No, check it out. You got 6 people upset over the actions of one person. and then that one person being as rude as it gets, but this is the billionth time we're doing it. Well, guess what? We're not going to yell. We're not going to scream. You're not invited for Christmas. You're not invited for the holiday. And you're not invited for the New Year. Okay? We'll send you a birthday card, which you're not getting one from me because you've never given me one. And it's not because you never gave me one that I'm not going to give you one. It's just that you're rude and diabolical. We all have these people in our lives. But it's family. Really? Really? Is he all right? Yeah. He's got a girl? Yeah. He's got a job? Yeah. The only time he comes around is to cause trouble? Yeah. Well, you're out. This goes for everyone, right? And then you start cleaning up your circle. You can't take this baggage with you. When you break the top of the pyramid, when you eject out, like Chris talks about, like you get rocketed out of the pyramid. Okay, it's like to go through that tip, the eye of the needle, you can't have any attachments. You go to the weighing of your heart ceremony, you better not have any of those things with you. You better not have that, well, the fat kid across the street won't stop bothering me, and drama, and distraction. Well, you know, Trump did that. If you go there like that, you're not going anywhere. And we're going somewhere. And you can believe whatever you want to believe, but it's going to occur. You should believe in yourself. Those are things you should believe in. Believe in yourself. Believe that you will get it done. We're being trained. We're being readied. But it's our people. The majority of us are them. Watch what happens on the Great Wake Up. On the Great Wake Up, all the people that are around you. Venzienza Pizza across the street from my house has, when they built the pizzeria, everything now is all aliens in there. When I walk in that place, everyone loves me. I'm like, I know when the great change happens and I can see you guys, I know all the ET groups are right here watching me. I know you guys are watching me. But I'm okay with that. Right? Because you need protection in a place that is full of deception. And what are we? Your protection from deception. See how that works? Man, I love you guys so much. I appreciate you hanging with me and listening to me rant on and ramble. Book I'm reading, downloads from the 9. Recognize Your Higher Self Effortlessly by Matias Fleury, Matiasflury. You should definitely check that book out. It's amazing. The more you read it, the smarter you get. It helps you break the cycling just through the reading itself. You don't need ayahuasca, don't need DMT, a little meditation, a little breathing, and put a little concentration into a book and see what the beings from the other places are trying to say to us. Also, if you have an ankh, get busy. It's a birth canal. Start birthing your infinite processes. Start letting your fantasy start rolling. Build your future. Rebuild yourself. Take the layers and wraps and the overlays that we talk about. Take them off. Show yourself to the world. There's nothing wrong with you. You're absolutely perfect. You're wonderful. You're beautiful. The ones who aren't, they'll take care of themselves. Don't worry about them as much. Worry about you a little bit. Worry about change. Worry about where you want to be in this. Who do you want to be in this? Where do you stand in this? Stick around. Paranormal Portal's up next. Shout out to Paul and Milo. Love all you guys so much. Chat room. Whoop, whoop. And stick around after that. Beyond the Veil. We're your protection from deception. Count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.